Hey guys, it's Priscilla from Priscilla's Craft Shop, and we're here on part 2 of our Mickey Mouse hat video. Part 1, we learned how to make the base, and now we're going to do the extras such as the ears, the buttons, and the braids, okay? If you like what you see so far, don't forget to subscribe and hit a like. Okay, so now let's first start with the buttons. Again, we are using an H hook. You can put actual buttons here. I'm not going to though, because as I said before, I'm making this hat for my toddler, and my 20-month-old tends to pull on things, tries to destroy things, and he puts everything in his mouth. So I don't want a situation where he might have the hat on and I'm driving and I'm not really, keeping tabs of everything he's doing in his car seat, and he'll start pulling on it. I would like to avoid that. So my solution is, with the white yarn, we are going to wrap around and in a magic circle, chain 2, and then work 10 double crochets in that magic circle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, then we're going to close it, join with a slip stitch into our first double crochet. Here we go. Leave a long tail for sewing on. And there you go, your first button. You're going to want to make 2 of these, okay? Okay, so now we have our 2 buttons done. And we can work on the ears next. I kind of like to get all my extras done before I start actually putting the hat together. So next is ears. Again, with an H hook, that is the only hook you need. You're going to take your black yarn, and I have different sizes for different size ears for the different size hats on my website, on the pattern on the website, okay? So again, a magic circle, and we are going to chain 1 and make 12 half double crochets within this magic circle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. Pull that tight. You're going to join within your first half double crochet. Sometimes that can get a little lost. So what I like to do, just to make sure that I'm going into my right space, I just count backwards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And it's right in here. So we're going to join with a slip stitch, chain 1. Okay, our next round is going to be 2 half double crochets in each stitch for a total of 24 half double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Okay, so just gonna pull on my center for my magic ring just to make sure it stays nice and tight. And again, we're going to join with a slip stitch into our first half double crochet, and we're going to chain 1. This next row that we're going to work on is not half double crochet. We're going to be doing single crochets for this next round, okay? And we're going to be doing 2 single crochets in the first stitch, 1 single crochet in the next, 2 single crochet in the next stitch, another single crochet in the next. So basically rounds of 3, okay? But single crochet, no more half double, for a total of 36. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, sorry, I didn't mean to get out of frame there, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Okay, we're going to join with a slip stitch into our first single crochet and chain 1. We are now going to work another round of 36 single crochets. So you're just simply going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch around for a total of 36 single crochets. All right, let's get this done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Going to join with a slip stitch into your first single crochet. Leave a long tail for sewing. And you have done 1 ear. Now, this is just one part. You need to make a total of 4 of these. So you need 3 more of these. All right? So why don't you work 3 more up and we'll be back. All right, guys. So now we have completed our 4 ears. And the reason I had to do 4 is because we are going to sew 2 together to make 2 sturdy ears, right? You don't want the ears just flopping down. You kind of want them to have some strength to them, right? So I'm going to show you how we do one. Let me just take this one out the way. You're going to need your threading needle, your scissors. I like to just pull on the center from my magic circle, just tight, and snip that off. Okay. You're gonna take one and put the yarn through your needle. And simply just sew through the tops of the single crochets. Just go back and forth and just sew them together. So you have a long string on each one, and the reason why is one is for sewing together the 2 ears, and the other is for sewing onto the hat. You just follow along. Into each single crochet space. You're just gonna sew them together. And you know you're going to reach the ends when you get to the opposite string. So I always like to start right by the string just so that I know I've gotten through the whole thing. All right. And then what I like to do is I'm going to cut the one that I sewed. I'm going to cut it just a little short so that I am aware that there's the difference between the one that I sewed and the one I want to use to sew onto my hat, okay? It might not make a difference to you, but sometimes it just helps me, just these little tricks. All right, so we're going to do 3 knots. You know, 3 is my favorite number when it comes to these little knots here. All right, and our first hat is done. You're going to want to sew the other hats, and I'll see you back here. Okay, so now we have both ears completed. Right, super cute. Okay, so we have our ears done and we have our buttons done. So before I put all that together, I just want to get my braids cut out so that when I go to join my hat and assemble my hat, I have all the pieces necessary, okay? You don't have to do it with my steps. This is just what I like to do. All right, so we're going to do our braids with red, black, and yellow. So I like my braid to be just a little long. So I'm gonna cut it around that. So then now I take my first measurement and I do it like this because it's going to go through and it's going to be doubled, right? I'm going to take this one and I'm going to measure out the other ones with my first measurement. And I'm going to do 6 on each side. So you need a total of 12 reds. I just like to do it 6 and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm sorry, 4, 5, 6. All right, we're gonna take an extra one for measurement. So our 6 for our one side of our braid, I'm gonna put it over here. I have my first one for the next group of 6, and we're just going to measure out our next 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, I'm done with my red. Now I'm going to measure out my yellow. And they don't have to be like super perfect, super lined up. I just do more or less about the same. I'm going to put my other group on this side of me, okay? So now we have our yellow, and let's just go from there. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to do another one to measure. Okay, we have our group here. And these braids, honestly, can be done any color you want. So I like to do the yellow, the black, the red, but you can do them just yellow. You can do them just black, just red. You can do them white, red, and black. You can do them white and black. Honestly, it's whatever your preference is. I just don't want you to feel like you're locked into these colors. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, we're done with the yellow. Now to get the black and measure out our black against our yellow. Okay, I'm going to take my yellow. I already have one on this side. I'm going to put it on the other side. So we have our first one, our first black one measured out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And an extra one. Let's put that there. And now I do 6 in each color for toddler and bigger size hats. When it's like a baby, like, you know, the 0 to 3 months and 3 to 6, I do 4. And then it gets bigger, add 5, and then 6. So we have 5, 6. All right, and we are done with the black. I'm gonna push this over here. All right, now let's get our braids out of the way. Oh, and just so that you know, this is something I like to do, if I can find a piece of it. I like to tie my braid with, I guess, a main color or something. So I'm going to be tying the ends of my braids with the red. So what I'm going to do in advance is just snipping up 2 pieces. You see, just these 2 pieces, and putting them aside so that I have them for when I'm ready to tie my braid. So now we have our ears. We're going to assemble our hat. Remember, last video, we fastened everything off so there's no loose ends on this hat. So you're just going to make sure that your hat is perfect and even. You're going to take your threading needle, put your yarn through, and right where the join is, that's where you're going to connect it, your hat, your ear to your hat. So I like to kind of do it 1, 2, right there, that line right before the 3rd row. So if you look, you have 1, 2, 3. We're going to have the bottom of the ear be right at that line. And the top is going to be right by the 3rd. So we have 1, 2, 3, and it's going to be right at that line of the 3rd. So it's going to be in between rows 3, after row 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 7. Okay, so between right after row 3 and right after row 7, those are your ends. Sorry if I'm making sense. I'm just trying to give a little bit clarification so that you know where you're sewing it. So I want to turn it so that my yarn here, this little tail, is at the side, so I can just kind of stitch it into the hat. All right, so once you have your first spot, which is right in between row 7 and row 8, you're going to then sew it on. I like to kind of sew it on so that the edge of the hat kind of meets that middle right there. And there's really no way, specific way to do this. Honestly, it's black, so it's very forgiving. You're not really going to be able to see the lines. You just want to make sure that it's sewed on really well and it won't come off. So now here, this top, you see how I said it was going to be after the third row? You have 1, 2, 3. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to insert our hook here so that we can kind of get it and just keep it into that place right where we want it. I like to kind of do the edging first, the bottom of the ear, sew that onto the hat first, and then I come up and kind of move my hat kind of towards it. So I'm taking my hands and I'm kind of pushing my hat to lean against the ear, okay? And then I'm kind of sewing further up into the ear, the circle. Oh. And I like to do this so that the hat can lean up against right here, that little line right after the center, right there. It's good to have little certain focal points so then when you're putting on the other hat, you kind of know more or less where to go and how to do it so that it looks even. Okay, so that is one ear done, right? And if you see, it's right in between the spots that we wanted it to be in between. Okay, next ear. Again, we're going to want it to go after the third row onto the 7th row. I'm gonna just insert my hook into that line after the 7th row, just so that I know that it's there, and go from there. Do my edging. Okay, so now that my edging's done, I'm going to want to push my hat, the front of my hat, push it to lean against the ear so that I can do it up against there as well so it can match the opposite side. All right. And our ears are on. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my hat inside out so that I can fasten off these strings. I'm going to cut them a little shorter so I don't have so much to work with. I'm just going to sew, find the little spots, go into the loop, tighten it, find another little spot, go into the loop, tighten it, and we're going to do that one more time. And that's it. Cut that off. Next side. Okay, here we go. Go through, put it through the loop, tighten. Oops. Go through, pull it through the loop, tighten. Go through, and tighten. Okay. All right. So our ears are done. Right? And now we have our buttons. So again, we're going to tighten our magic circle and just cut off that little centerpiece that's in the back. That's one side. That's another side. Okay. Insert your white yarn into your threading needle. And you know, you can mess around with it, make sure that it's nice and round. So we have 5 rows. So if you had like 4 rows, you can just put it smack dab right in the middle of the 2. But we have 5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this 3rd row our center. Okay, so we're going to put one here. So it's basically the top is going to be this row and the bottom is going to be this line on this row, and we have 1 row above and 1 row below, and that way it's very symmetrical and it's in the perfect location. All right, so now okay. Now our next one. This was going in the same spots. I kind of like to feel, just to make sure that it's, you know, pretty even. I don't have the best eye when it comes to making sure things are even. I normally call my husband and I'm like, does this look good? Does this look centered? I don't know what type of problem it is that I have, but I usually need his help to make sure. But with these things, honestly, this hat is so forgiving and super cute, and it just works. My little one is sleeping, so I'm sure when he wakes up tomorrow, he's going to be very excited to see his hat. Okay, so now we're going to fasten off this. Again, let's make this a little smaller so I don't have so much yarn to work with. For this one, you're working behind the circle, so honestly, it's super easy to hide and not stressful at all to put through. Because, you know, if you're working just at the hat regularly, you kind of have to grab certain parts of the yarn so that it doesn't come through the front. But with this, it's not the case. Tight. It has to be toddler proof. It has to be Jackson proof because that boy will destroy anything. And so far, all of his hats are still standing. He hasn't destroyed any of them, thankfully. Okay. The good thing about yarn is it's just so moldable. Honestly, you can just mess with it and do as you like. All right, so now for the braids. You take your H hook. You're gonna be working on this side. You kind of find, I don't do it here, I do it in the next row right up, okay? So you kind of find your center. And I always like to do kind of my main color in the center. And you're just gonna pull one side. Oof, what did I do? I'm sorry, let's do that again because that was not working. Okay, so instead of pulling it down the middle like I did, I don't know why I did that, you're going to grab the end, okay? And you're gonna insert your hook as so, and you're gonna pull on your ends. Make sure you have it all. And then when you have it through, you're just going to make sure that it's even. Okay, now next color. Going to do a bright yellow right in the front. That one could go right here. Okay, and then the back, going to the black, again in the same line, right back here, we're going to insert our black. Okay, so now we're going to just grab our black and make sure that that's even, right? Okay, so now, this is what I like to do. I like to kind of flatten my hat, separate my colors, right? Okay, now I can make a braid. Bear with me, I normally have this like in between my knees. If I have something leaning on the hat, it would help. I don't like the way that part looks. I'm very particular with certain things because it doesn't matter if it's for my kid. I still want it to look perfect. I take pride in everything that they wear. And I like to make sure that they're proud of it as well. All right, so now I'm going to take my red yarn and I'm going to just loop it around a couple of times, come to the back of it, and just make 3 knots. Then I'm going to just cut the ends off. Okay. Now we can do our opposite side. So again, you're not going to be doing it in here. You're going to be going in this row. I'll see you guys here at the next one. Okay guys, so I braided the other side. You see the braid. And that's it. You have your Mickey Mouse hats. I hope you guys found my tutorial super easy and simple. I hope you understood it with no problems. Again, the pattern is available for free on my website at priscillascraftshop.com. Please like the video, subscribe, stay tuned for more content. We're going to be making a ton of hats. All right? Thank you guys. I hope you have a great day. Bye.